Good evening. Welcome back to Free America. I was just listening to the news tonight. We're going to continue talking about the barbarians at the gates. I was listening to the news tonight, and they was talking about the judge over in Taos, New Mexico. Now, I seem to find it awfully odd that every time these liberals get involved in something that they know might be a little shaky, they start getting death threats. They start getting all kinds of threats. I can't tell you if this judge really did get death threats. But that's part of the problem in this country. That's the other barbarians. The barbarians who were raised in this country, who was born in this country, whose mothers and fathers were probably 7th, 8th generation in this country. And they have no regard for the law. You know, some of these folks like to march around wearing that little black outfit. They think they're Jesse James and the Dalton boys with a bandana over their face. But here's the problem. Through all this liberal indoctrination that they've gotten from grade school, from kindergarten, straight up through college, they believe that they have been mistreated, or they believe that they have been the instrument of mistreating others. You know, every time I hear one of these clowns talk, they're always saying, you know, Black Lives Matter. I got news for you, kid. All lives matter, whether you like it or not. They say that they're fighting fascism. Guys, is that while you're being fascist? Doing the very same thing that Hitler stormtroopers used to do? Then we have Sunday was 1 year from the Charlotte riots. Any of you find it slight bit interesting that Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all teamed up together to go up against neo-Nazis, KKK, the White Pride, and any other Republican they thought was over there? I find it funny because the KKK was founded by the Democrats. The neo-Nazis, the boons of the 30s and 40s, 20s, 30s, and 40s, the boons, which was the American German National program, so that they could keep the German life well ingrained into American children. Excuse me. And when people tried to stop it, oops, wait a minute, Democrats stepped in again and said, no. They're not doing anything wrong. But the Democrats were the first to start yelling, let's round them up. They rounded up all the Japanese and Germans and Italians. I met a woman who was living in New York City at the time. She was 14 years old when the war started, World War II started. And cops came to her front door. And her mother, her father, 2 brothers and her was transferred to a resettlement camp. I call it a re-education camp in New Jersey. A lot of people went to the Catskills. Now, when you hear about the roundups of World War II, you only hear about the Japanese. You never hear about the Italians or the Germans. Wonder why? I don't want to make it about skin color, but sometimes I believe it is. Folks, the barbarians at the gate are the grandchildren of those people. And great-grandchildren. And let me tell you something right now. Here's the biggest problem we've got. Is we've got school administrators, liberal school administrators, who says we can't pray in our schools. The Pledge of Allegiance should not be said. Teaching our children to be respectful of what their fathers and mothers did. You know, that's what the problem is today. Now, our problem is we have now got to start. If you've ever been to Yellowstone Park, there's signs up all over the place that says, "Do not feed the bears. Do not feed the bears." Well, why don't you feed the bears? Because you start feeding the bears become dependent on humans. They forget how to forage. Sound like anything in particular? Like 90% of those young people who go to these rallies all the time, who are going to these protests, how do they do it? Are they paid? To a degree. A lot of them, have waivers. My back hurt. I hurt my back, so I get Social Security disability. And then I get HUD, food stamps. What we've done with our social services is we've taken the will to work away from these people. Now all they want to do is, well, it goes back to an old saying I was taught years ago. And it is, anything freely given has no value. You gave them a little bit, now they want a lot. And they want more. Pretty soon, we're going to run out of other people's money. Then what do? Oh, I know. We go to Saudi Arabia and borrow money from them. at high loan rates. Folks, we've got to bring our young people in. We've got to start teaching them. But here's another problem. We've got to get them to where they're willing to learn. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed day. Have a very good day. And we will have you some more videos in the next day or two. Alright? Thank you, and be blessed.